message you just typed and deleted for the 10th time? That's not maturity. That's the exact moment you declared you hate yourself and you don't want your own progress. And I can prove it. Let me tell you something that's going to sting. That moment, that exact moment when you hit delete instead of send, you just chose fear over freedom. And you've been doing it your whole life. Listen, before we dive deeper into why you keep betraying yourself like this, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button. Not because I need it, but because you need what's coming next. This channel is where we rip off the masks and face the truths that everyone else is too scared to tell you. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Every single time you bite your tongue when someone disrespects you, every time you smile when you want to scream, every time you say it's fine, when it's absolutely not fine, you're not being mature. You're being a coward. And deep down, in that place you never let anyone see, you know it. But wait, it gets worse. That person who keeps crossing your boundaries, they're doing it because you taught them they could. That job where they keep passing you over is happening because you never spoke up. That relationship where you feel invisible, you disappeared yourself. Comment below if this is hitting too close to home. I see every single comment, and I know exactly what you're going through. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this pattern over a century ago. He called it slave morality. And once you understand what he meant, you'll never see yourself the same way again. Because right now, at this very moment, you're living by rules that were designed to keep you weak. Rules that were literally created by people who had already given up. Think about this. When was the last time you had a real confrontation? Not a screaming match. Not passive-aggressive comments. But an honest, direct conversation where you said exactly what you meant. Can't remember? That's because you've been programmed since childhood to avoid it. Don't talk back. Be the bigger person. Keep the peace. Sound familiar? But here's the plot twist nobody tells you. Those phrases? They're not wisdom. They're chains. And the person who put them on you probably wore the same chains their whole life. This goes deeper than you think. Way deeper. Let me paint you a picture. Ancient times. The strong ruled. Warriors, nobles, conquerors. They didn't apologize for their power. They didn't shrink themselves. Good meant strong. Good meant bold. Good meant taking what was yours. But then something shifted. The weak couldn't win by force, so they did something genius. They changed the entire game. They flipped morality upside down. Suddenly, being powerful was evil. Being assertive was wrong. Being meek was holy. Being silent was noble. Not because it was true, but because it was the only way they could survive. And here's the kicker. You're still living by their survival strategy. In 2024, with a smartphone in your hand and opportunities they never dreamed of. Every time you avoid necessary conflict, you're not being spiritual or evolved. You're reenacting a 2,000-year-old coping mechanism. And it's killing your soul. Drop a comment right now. What confrontation have you been avoiding? What words are burning in your throat? I read every comment, and trust me, you're not alone in this. But here's where it gets really dark. That anger you're suppressing, it doesn't disappear. Oh no, it does something much worse. It ferments. Like wine left too long, it turns into something poisonous. Nietzsche called it resentful. And it's probably already eating you alive from the inside. You know that feeling when you replay arguments in your head? When you think of the perfect comeback 3 hours later? When you imagine telling someone off but never actually do it? That's resentful. It's your life force turned against itself. And every day you feed it by staying silent, it grows stronger while you grow weaker. Here's a truth bomb. You're not keeping the peace. You're keeping the poison. And that poison has a very specific taste. It tastes like, I should have said something. It tastes like, why didn't I stand up for myself? Tastes like regret. And you've been drinking it so long you think it's normal. Subscribe if you're ready to spit out that poison. Because what I'm about to share will change how you see every interaction for the rest of your life. The most successful people you know, they're not conflict avoidant. They set boundaries. They speak directly. They don't let things fester. Meanwhile, you're over here collecting resentments like trophies, displaying them in the museum of your mind, giving private tours to yourself at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. But But Nietzsche didn't just diagnose the disease. He gave us the cure. He called it the will to power. And no, before you freak out, it's not about dominating others. It's about something much more radical. It's about refusing to dominate yourself. Think about a plant growing through concrete. Is it being aggressive? Is it being mean to the sidewalk? No, it's just insisting on its right to exist, to grow, to reach the sun. That's will to power. And right now, you're the concrete in your own story. Every time you swallow your truth, you pour more concrete over your soul. Every time you choose fake harmony over real honesty, you add another layer. And then you wonder why you feel so heavy, why you're so tired all the time, why nothing seems to matter anymore. Here's what's really happening. You're not tired. You're suppressed. You're not depressed. You're compressed. All that life force, all that energy, all that power you were born with, is still there. But it's pushing against walls you built yourself. And those walls are made of every conversation you didn't have, every boundary you didn't set, every time you chose their comfort over your truth. The scariest part? You're getting good at it. You've become a professional at disappearing, at shrinking, at making yourself small enough to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Comment below. What space are you shrinking yourself to fit into right now? A relationship? A job? A family dynamic? Let's get real about this. But transformation is possible. Nietzsche gave us a roadmap. He called it the 3 metamorphoses. First, you're the camel. That's you right now, kneeling in the desert, letting everyone pile their baggage on your back. I can handle it, you say. I'm strong, you say. But carrying other people's weight isn't strength. The slow suicide. Then comes the lion. This is when you finally snap. When you roar. When you say, and no more. The lion doesn't ask permission. Doesn't apologize. Doesn't explain. The lion just declares, this is my space. This is my truth. Deal with it. And yes, people will be shocked. They liked you better as a camel. But here's what they don't tell you about becoming the lion. It's terrifying. Because you have to fight the dragon of thou shalt. Every scale on that dragon is a rule you've been following. Thou shalt not make waves. Thou shalt not be selfish. Thou shalt keep everyone comfortable. And you have to slay that dragon with your bare hands while everyone watches. Subscribe right now if you're ready to pick up the sword, because this battle is the most important one you'll ever fight. But the journey doesn't end with the lion. There's one more transformation. The child. Not childish. Childlike. Free. Creative. Unburdened. The child doesn't fight anymore because there's nothing left to prove. The child just exists. Fully. Authentically. Without apology. Imagine walking into a room and not immediately calculating how to make everyone comfortable. Imagine speaking without first running your words through 17 filters. Imagine being yourself without constantly checking if it's okay. That's the child. That's freedom. That's what's waiting on the other side of every confrontation you've been avoiding. But you can't skip steps. You can't go from camel to child. You have to pass through the fire of the lion. You have to have those difficult conversations. You have to risk being disliked. You have to choose your truth over their comfort. And yes, you'll lose people. Let me be clear about that. You will lose people. But here's the secret. The people you lose when you start speaking your truth, you never really had them. They were in love with your performance, not your person. They liked the camel, not the soul carrying the weight. And losing them isn't loss. It's liberation. The real question is, who are you? Under all that people-pleasing, under all that conflict avoidance, under all those masks you wear, who are you? Because right now, you're living as a ghost. Polite, agreeable, harmless ghost. And ghosts don't have boundaries. Ghosts don't have needs. Ghosts don't disturb anyone. But ghosts also don't live. Comment this. I'm ready to stop being a ghost. Because acknowledging it is the first step to changing it. Here's what's going to happen when you start setting boundaries. First, people will be confused. What's gotten into you? They'll ask. Then they'll be angry. You've changed. They'll accuse. Then they'll try to guilt you. I liked the old you better, they'll say. And that's when you'll know it's working. Because their discomfort is not your responsibility. Their reactions are not your problem. Their inability to handle your truth is not a reason to hide it. You've spent years, maybe decades, making yourself digestible, watering yourself down, removing your edges. Also, you could be swallowed without anyone choking. But you're not food. You're not here to be consumed. You're here to be yourself. And yourself includes sharp edges, includes strong opinions, includes the right to say no, includes the power to disappoint people, includes the freedom to be disliked. Subscribe if you're ready to be indigestible, because what's coming next will show you exactly how to start. The biggest lie you've been told is that conflict is violence, that disagreement is war, that boundaries are walls. But conflict, done consciously, is surgery. It's removing what doesn't belong. It's clearing space for what's real. It's the scalpel that separates your truth from their expectations. Think about the last time you had an honest disagreement that ended in deeper understanding. Can't remember? That's because you've been avoiding the very conversations that could transform your relationships. You've been choosing surface peace over deep connection. You've been picking pleasant lies over difficult truths. But here's what authentic conflict looks like. It's not screaming. It's not attacking. It's saying, "This doesn't work for me." It's saying, "I need something different." It's saying, "Let's figure this out together." It's choosing discomfort now to avoid resentment later. It's picking one hard conversation over 1,000 angry thoughts. And yes, some people can't handle that. Some people need you to stay small so they can feel big. Some people need you to stay quiet so they can stay comfortable. Some people need you to remain a camel so they have somewhere to put their baggage. But those people, they're not your people. Your people can handle your truth. Your people want your authenticity. Your people prefer the real you, edges and all. But you'll never find them while you're wearing a mask. You'll never meet them while you're playing a role. You'll never connect with them while you're hiding behind harmony. Drop a comment. What mask are you wearing right now? What role are you playing? What truth are you hiding? I respond to comments and I want to know what you're struggling with. Here's the hard truth about becoming who you are. It's not a gentle unfolding. It's not a peaceful evolution. It's a violent birth. Because the person you're meant to be is trapped inside the person you're pretending to be. And breaking free requires breaking things. Breaking patterns. Breaking expectations. Breaking the conspiracy of silence you've been part of. Every time you've stayed quiet when you should have spoken, you added another bar to your prison. Every time you smiled when you wanted to scream, you strengthened the lock. Every time you said yes when your whole body was saying no, you chose captivity over freedom. But prisons built over years can be destroyed in moments. With the right words, at the right time, to the right person. The conversation you're avoiding, that's your key. The boundary you're scared to set, that's your door. The truth you're terrified to speak, that's your path to freedom. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it might change everything. But isn't everything already wrong? Isn't the life you're living already a betrayal of the life you want? Subscribe now because I'm about to show you exactly how to have these conversations. How to set these boundaries. How to speak these truths. Without being cruel. Without being destructive. But without being silent either. The first step is recognizing that your silence has been violence. Violence against yourself. Every unexpressed truth is a self-inflicted wound. Every swallowed word is a small death. Every avoided conflict is a betrayal of your own soul. And you've been doing this for so long you think it's normal. You think everyone lives with this weight, this heaviness, this sense that something is deeply wrong but you can't name it. I'll name it for you. You're living someone else's life, following someone else's rules, meeting someone else's expectations, and dying someone else's death. Because when you don't live your truth, you don't die your death. You die a stranger's death, a crowdsourced death, a death by 1,000 compromises. But it doesn't have to end like that. You can choose differently, starting right now, starting with the next conversation, starting with the next opportunity to speak or stay silent. You can choose your voice over their comfort, your truth over their approval, your life over their expectations. The world needs your truth, not your politeness, not your agreeability, not your silence. Your truth, raw, real, uncomfortable, necessary. Because every truth spoken makes space for more truth. Every boundary set gives others permission to set boundaries. Every act of authentic self-expression is a revolution. Comment below, I choose my truth, because declaring it here in front of strangers who understand is practice for declaring it out there in front of people who might not. You want to know the real tragedy? It's not that you've been silent. It's that you've been silent about things that matter, while being loudly agreeable about things that don't. You've mastered the art of pleasant conversation while avoiding every topic that could lead to growth. You've become fluent in small talk while forgetting how to speak from your soul. But your soul remembers. It remembers every time you betrayed it. Every time you chose their feelings over your truth. Every time you picked harmony over honesty. And it's keeping score. That heaviness you feel, that's the weight of unspoken words. That exhaustion, that's the energy it takes to maintain the mask. That emptiness, that's the space where your truth should be. The antidote is simple. Not easy, but simple. Start speaking. Start with small truths. I don't actually like that. This doesn't feel right to me. I need something different. Feel how foreign those words are in your mouth. Feel how your body tenses when you say them. That tension, that's years of conditioning fighting against your freedom. But push through, because on the other side of that discomfort is your life. Your real life, the one where you're not performing, not pretending, not shrinking. The life where you take up space, where you have opinions, where you matter, not because everyone agrees with you, but because you agree with yourself. Subscribe if you're ready for that life, because I'm going to show you how to claim it. Here's what nobody tells you about finding your voice. It's not actually lost. It's just buried. Under years of good job being quiet. Under decades of don't make a scene. Under a lifetime of choosing safety over truth. But it's still there, waiting, like seeds in the desert, waiting for rain. And the rain is your courage. One drop at a time. One word at a time, one conversation at a time, until the desert blooms, until your voice returns, until you remember who you were before they taught you to be afraid. You were born knowing how to roar. Watch any 2-year-old. They have no problem expressing displeasure, no issue with boundaries, no struggle with authenticity. They are purely, gloriously, unapologetically themselves. That's your natural state. Everything else is learned, which means it can be unlearned. The question is, are you ready? Are you ready to disappoint people? Are you ready to be misunderstood? Are you ready to be called difficult, selfish, changed? Because that's the price. That's what it costs to buy back your soul. And compared to a lifetime of silence, it's a bargain. Your assignment, should you choose to accept it, within the next 24 hours, have one conversation you've been avoiding. Set one boundary you've been scared to set. Speak one truth you've been swallowing. Start small if you need to, but start. Because momentum builds, courage compounds, and freedom is contagious. Comment your commitment below. Tell me what conversation you're going to have, what boundary you're going to set, what truth you're going to speak. Make it real by writing it down. Make it public by sharing it here. Make it inevitable by taking the first step. The person you're meant to be is waiting on the other side of your fear. They're not perfect. They're not always liked. They're not universally approved of. But they're real. They're free. They're alive. And they're worth every difficult conversation it takes to meet them. Remember, you weren't born to be a camel, carrying everyone else's weight. You were born to be yourself. Fully, boldly, unapologetically. The world has enough people playing it safe. What it needs is you playing for real. Your silence isn't keeping the peace. It's keeping you prisoner. Your agreeability isn't making you good. It's making you ghost. Your conflict avoidance isn't spiritual. It's suicidal. To the soul that wants to live. To the voice that wants to speak. To the truth that wants to emerge. So speak. Even if your voice shakes. Set boundaries. Even if your hands tremble. Stand up. even if your knees wobble, because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and choosing freedom anyway. The time for silence is over. The age of your voice begins now. Welcome to your becoming.